even one thing I did think of is I've been watching some of the Little League World Series highlights on YouTube.
Hmm.
And it's interesting, I've noticed there are quite a few girls playing.
Oh my.
And I don't know if that's new, but it led me to think, if there is a team athletic sport that you could just let people play,
Uh,
baseball is probably the one.
yeah, baseball is probably the one, and uh, they have this commercial. I watch a lot of Met games, as Mark, and MLB has this commercial on where, well, I guess girls and boys are just talking about why they love baseball because one girl says you don't even have to be that good. All you have to do is go out and play. Now I don't know if I agree with that part so much, but I mean I get it. You know, in some ways I guess she is right. All you got to do is go out there and play. You know, but it's not quite that simple. And I'm actually doing a little housekeeping here. Uh, Mark, getting you set up so that we can see you properly.
Oh, you're going to spoil the whole thing.
No, no, I don't think so because we just got to get it right, man. Oh, look at that. Okay, lower third. That's Mark. You're on top with. Okay. I see what's going on. There we go. All right. So now we got to do something about me. Well, I think that. So actually, you're in the box with more space than I have, but that's all right. You're the professor, so I will be in the small box, and that's fine. All right.
Interesting. On my end, I'm the small box.
No, you don't have what I have.
Ah, okay.
It's a little different. All right. So I know, but before I don't think this was on live, but uh, I asked you how you doing or what's going on, and you gave some kind of a response as to, well, I don't even remember exactly what you said, but I know it was a somewhat negative kind of response. So let's talk about it. I know there's something definitely on my mind, and I will admit that I don't have all the details, but I want to hear what's on your mind first.
Well, there's so much.
Mm,
Shortages, fires all around. Uh, the forecast for winter says it's going to be much drier than usual, so we won't get the snow in the mountains that we're going to need next year. Um, and then there's the political stuff.
And just so people are clear, when he says we, Mark lives in Washington State. So that's the area he's alluding to. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
And my my life family, as I refer to the people I've known my whole life, uh, are in Indiana. They're not where it's awfully awful, but they're dealing with lots of storms and lots of water. Um, I think my oldest grandson is safe, but they're underwater, I guess, where he is. And there's just so many places uh, around the world where natural disasters and weather are just, they're piling up and piling up. And some of it is just the way it is, and some of it is because people have been willfully stupid for the last several hundred years when we've had information available to us so we could do better. And then there's just the general political situation. You know, I can walk a block and a half and I can see Victoria Island, but I can't go there anymore because the countries aren't friends anymore. Many of the people are, but the countries aren't. So, um,
Yeah.
and then just a little bit ago, I got the news Dolly Parton died. So,
Is that right?
yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's a big loss.
yeah, I wasn't a huge fan, but I really appreciated what she did and that she was a good person and tried to do a lot for a lot of people. And I knew her health wasn't good, but, um, that didn't make the day any better.
Now, I didn't know that
Yeah,
she
mostly,
was.
we have sunny skies. It's a pretty nice day today, and it was a nice day yesterday here. So there's that.
Yeah. And I know that, and see, we should have talked about this earlier because I would have told you to share that video footage of you in the kayak yesterday. So, Mark loves to kayak. He's an outdoorsman, and uh, he had this short but wonderful video footage. He took his phone, which was waterproof, it was in a cover, and he put his phone underwater, and you got to see some life underneath the water. Uh, no, there were no sharks, there were no eels, but there were some regular fish flying around, swimming around, and that was kind of fun to watch. You know, Mark is becoming a regular Jacques Cousteau light, and and so I guess next time we'll have to share some video footage of that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
if we can figure that out, um, I did just share that on Facebook. Uh, I've, last week, I had finally gotten to the tower that's down near the aquatic center that I kayaked around last year, but I hadn't actually been on it. And I was coming home from an errand, so I went up there and I looked. Even before I got there, out on the pier, I could look down and I could see starfish in the water. And I'd never actually seen a starfish, I think, with my own eyes before. So I got a couple of pictures that way. So I want to get out in the kayak and see if I can get something underwater. And what I got yesterday didn't work as well as I wanted, but you do see a big orange starfish on the rocks. And so that was fun. And when I went out earlier this year, I saw an octopus for the first time with my own
yes,
eyes.
and you did share that with me.
Dead on the shore, but it was a real octopus. Um, the seagull alerted me to it. It was over there picking at the carcass, but that's life.
Yep,
And
death is
last
a
year,
part of life.
yeah, and last year I saw jellyfish out there and got some good pictures. I didn't think to put my camera in the water and try that. I'm hoping to get that again next year. Uh, so yeah, there's all kinds of underwater life around here and shore life. There's always birds out there. I have seen a common loon here.
Oh, nice.
I used to photograph those a lot. I know they're around. Um, one day earlier this year when I was out, I was in the harbor at Los Angeles, and there's a big breakwater there, and I'm usually on the inside of that. It's a long trip to get around it, but orcas went by just on the other side, earlier this year. I didn't see them then, but yeah, there's all kinds of wonderful opportunities around here. Wildlife refuge not far from here, um, and heck, see deer every day right out in the yard. Um, I do live in a beautiful part of the world. It's just what's happened.
Attached to the wrong country right now.
What?
It just seems to be attached to the wrong country right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that if anybody does watch this and they hear that statement, don't be offended. Don't be offended because things have gotten really out of hand. Mark knows it. I know it. And you all know it too, unless you've been under a rock somewhere or maybe you've been in outer space. I don't know. But things have gotten pretty out of control. And, you know, I don't really describe this as a political show because we like to talk about any number of different things. But right now, the hot button topic is the political climate. And the political climate continues to be scalding hot because of, well, I'm not going to say because of one person. You know, Trump gets a lot of the blame, and rightfully so. But you know what? A lot of you are to blame too. And a lot of the people who are in office, you know, whether they're Congress people or whether they're senators, they are at fault because so many of them, and let's face it, most of them are on one side of the aisle, all right? They have done the bidding for this guy. They have carried water for him. They have been his enablers for goodness knows how long. And it's just not the politicians now. We got a bigger problem because now the courts are doing the same thing. And if a lower court rules in such a way that is not really in his favor, he cries blues, stomps his feet, and presumably throws ketchup in the wall. And you got the idiots on the Supreme Court. Well, six of them are idiots anyway, and we know who they are. I'm not going to mention all their names because I don't want to give them any more power than what they have, screwing things up. But uh, they have gone ahead and they have done more bidding, more water carrying, and apparently, see, here's my concern. I'm concerned about those six justices for a very different kind of reason. I mean, I don't care if it's Donald Trump or not. There's only so much room in anybody's butt. And, you know, how do they manage to all fight for the same spot to look for polyps? I think I mentioned this before. But, I mean, truly, you know, how many people could fit up one butt at the same time? And, I mean, well, you don't have Lindsey Graham for that anymore, but there's still Susan Collins, who's a part-time butt kisser. I can't stand that woman. You know, she votes against Trump after she knows that it's safe to do so, but she's not going to really go against him, you know. So we've got him to concern ourselves with, all the foolishness that he has brought to the table, you know, getting rid of all our allies, making them maybe not enemies. You mentioned Canada before. I don't know that Canada's an enemy, but they're certainly not allies. You
Well,
know,
as far as government goes, they're not our friends anymore,
no,
and
of course
rightfully
not.
so. I mean, that most people in Canada still like American people, and anybody that doesn't like Canadians, speaking generalities here, just doesn't know. I've spent not nearly enough time in Canada, but I've been in Canada from coast to coast and most places in between. And I happen to be wearing a Canada shirt today, left over from one of those trips,
Nice.
and crossed the border many times. And other than answering a couple of basic questions, just come on in, enjoy yourself. Can't do that anymore. I can't go to Canada anymore. So um, that's that's distressing and disappointing. Um, what Supreme Court did yesterday is unforgivable. I mean, I live in a state, we've been voting by mail exclusively for years. I don't think there are any polling places here. There are collection boxes we can put our ballots in. They're mailed to us. We can mail them in, or we can drop them in ballot boxes. But unless something changes, if it's possible for this state to have an election at all in November, it's going to cost a whole lot more than the state budgeted for. And a whole lot of people aren't going to be able to vote that would have voted. So I I don't blame the state for that. Um,
Well, okay, let's talk about. We know what the problem is, and it's not only in Washington State. I'm assuming that this is a problem now, or it's going to be a problem in certain parts of other states. All right, so let's sit here and talk for a minute about possible solutions. Because see, I don't know that there. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, by myself at least, I'm not smart enough to come up with a solution. And
I now know would put anybody who participates in that solution in jeopardy of being put in prison. That's the way things are now. So uh,
well, they better be specific, Mark, about what they consider to be out of bounds. I mean, I think that
if you don't if you don't suck up to you know who and they find out about it, you're in trouble. And that's I'm not going to be quiet, and you're not going to be quiet. But um, and we can't be quiet. We
well,
can't.
I'll tell you who the noisiest people will be, and this is just my view based on observation in previous years. I think the people who are going to make the most noise are true Christians. No, 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 no. I'm not talking about MAGA Christians. Y'all gave Christianity a bad name, and I'm mad at y'all for that. But I'm talking about Christians, uh, real Christians, you know. And what do I mean by real Christians? It's very simple. People who don't do the bidding of you know who, and people who don't blindly support you know who. Uh,
There are
well,
people who have different beliefs and people who say they don't have any beliefs at all that know what's going on and know what's wrong. And I still can't think of any way, even with enough organization of all those people, that there's any way to save what's still known as the United States. It's dead. It's over and done. And we've talked. You and I have talked about this before. I'll just say here, I'll anybody who may be listening, look up the words to the Star Spangled Banner and read.
the who? Wait, wait, wait. What's the name of that song?
That's the technical name. I'm going to stick with that for now. But particularly pay attention to verses 3 and 4, and then think about what you just read and look at the situation today, and you'll see what we've got now. Very close to having for sure is exactly what Francis Scott Key wanted when he wrote that, and that's not acceptable.
Well, I have my own thoughts of the storm. Man, I call it what I call it all the time. And if any of y'all are offended, you know what? Y'all like to call Democrats and liberals snowflakes. So don't get all butthurt when I refer to it as a star-mangled banner. Y'all have no leg to stand on. Not the way that y'all support name calling, mocking people. You have no leg to stand on. So please, don't send me your email. You know, don't comment if you've got something ugly to say because you're going to be ignored. But you really got no leg to stand on. All right, uh, so for those of you who don't know, Francis Scott Key, I will refer to him from now on as Francis Scott Off Key, but but, but he wrote the star. I can't. What's the name of that song?
The actual name is the
Yeah,
Star Spangled Banner.
yeah, because I just can't get myself to say it.
He
That's
didn't
why.
write the music, but he did write the poem that's been added with the music.
I don't even. I never thought about that. I don't know who wrote the music. I don't know whether to be mad at that person or not, but I know that Francis Scott off key. He was way off base with some of his lyrics. I know that.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I guess
But
I opened.
the he wrote a poem based on what he was seeing and what he had a vision of for the future. Um, I disagree with his vision for the future, but that was his vision for the future. Um, it got worse when those words got put to, many sources say, was an old drinking song. It's definitely very, very hard for anybody to sing. Um, and
I'd,
then
I'd like to take a
eventually
crack at it.
Congress in something like 1938 decided, oh, that represents this country. We should make it the national anthem. And just
I wouldn't mind
everybody,
taking a shot at it, Mark.
huh?
I wouldn't mind taking a shot at singing it right now.
Oh,
But
please no. I don't want to hear it again. Not again.
well, I really had ideas about changing the lyrics.
Well, we need a lot more than that.
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to do that because, folks, I'm joking here about doing that because I cannot sing word to lick, and I know it. But yeah,
Well, it's made many very good singers sound really awful attempting it. So, well, we did want to keep this to about 15 minutes, and we're already over. So we probably should wrap it up, and we'll do it again. Um, if anybody has heard us and decides they didn't want to come back, that's okay. But we'll hope some people will come on and pay attention, because we will talk about a lot of things, and there are good things to talk about. And
oh,
there's positive
absolutely.
ways to talk about some of the bad stuff. Um, so if you just want to hear opinions of two people who have opinions and try to stay informed and get our information from many sources, this is a place to come.
That's it. What do you think? Before we go, I gotta ask you your thoughts about this guy whose name escapes me right now. Busted for prostitution. The San Francisco 49ers owner. Did you hear
I
about
That's
that?
one thing I didn't know about.
Oh man, I don't remember his name. He's the owner of the 49ers now. In all honesty, I don't know if he's the majority owner or not. I don't follow the NFL that closely, so I don't know all the owners. But yeah, he's I don't know what to make of it, but you know,
Well, since the first I've heard about this is from you, I don't know any details or even what's been reported, but I would say I think we all have a lot more important things to pay attention to than whether someone is somehow involved in paying for sex, because that's been around for forever and ever and ever. It's probably not going away.
I get
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, so um,
Justice Roberts, we can we can agree to disagree here, but I think the man should be immediately investigated, and you know, I
but investigated by who?
that's the
And who can
problem.
do anything about what they find? That's the biggest problem right now. There is no, there are laws, but the people whose job it is to interpret and enforce them um, do that to suit them, and the rest of us step out of line in their opinion, whether or not we're actually doing anything illegal. We're in real jeopardy. That's the big problem.
Yeah, when Justice Sotomayor was put on the Supreme Court, it was a source of pride for me because I grew up in a place called Co-op City in the Bronx, and Justice Sotomayor, way back then, and I don't claim to know her personally, but she was a neighbor of ours. And so I look and I say, wow, one of us has made it. That's all right. Uh, but then to be with this group of people, uh, I can only imagine what goes on in her mind after a vote like what we just had, or they just had, I should say.
Yeah,
I can only imagine. I know Judge Katanji Brown Jackson. Where's it, Jackson Brown? Uh, she expressed frustration.
yeah.
She did not mince words, and Justice Sotomayor, she's not one to mince words either. But she doesn't say much. But when she does, you better listen because it's profound. It's
Yeah.
always profound with her.
Well, my
So
my kind of objection a minute ago when you talk about look where she is now, um, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that that would have meant a whole lot different than what it does today.
yeah,
Uh, okay, she's a justice on the Supreme Court, um, but she almost is never in agreement with six of them. So her opinion now and her statements don't really carry any more weight than what you or I say.
yeah, this is true, and I alluded to that. I said
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that she is with this motley crew, and I'm being kind, uh, that excuse me, that kind of takes some of the luster off of it. She still has accomplished some things while she's been
oh,
in there,
absolutely, she
and
has.
you know, uh, the bottom.
And
I
what
mean,
does she do now? Resigning? Does that do any good? Probably not.
well, certainly not, certainly
But
not.
being there, she can say things that get heard that we would agree with, where we're not going to get heard. But it, the Constitution no longer means anything.
No,
And
it doesn't. It
any
really doesn't.
any real position she had to make any difference was dependent on the Constitution.
Yeah.
And
But
it's just, it's a historic piece of paper now. That's all it is.
you know what, Mark? Her her legacy at least will be that she voted on the side of right. Same thing for Judge Katanji. Her legacy is going to be she voted on the side of right. You know, of of, of all the right things. And I mean, truly, what is Justice Roberts' legacy going to be? What is Alito, Amy Coney Barrett? I mean, and lest we forget Clarence Thomas, what is their legacy truly going to be when they're gone?
Well,
And
here's the important question. Whatever their legacy may be years down the road, what real difference, what real positive difference does that make to any of us now?
right now, yeah.
None.
No, you're right. You're
We
right.
can only live now.
Yeah,
And what's coming up does not look good.
yeah, this is true
And
too.
things that happen naturally, I can accept that. Part of the world where I live may not exist tomorrow or in the next few hundred years. It may be completely changed and gone. Well, that's just the way it is. But this other stuff that stupid people doing stupid things out of cruelty, that makes me angry.
Yeah, I think we're on the same side there for sure. And I mean, I know that we excuse me, we've agreed that we would try and keep some opinion out of these shows. I always said that when we do these shows, I will post things by saying, well, Mark, what do you say to those people who think such and such? But every now and then, we're going to go there and we're going to offer our personal opinions, and that's okay. I mean, hopefully, we're always making, we're giving educated opinions. We're doing a little bit of homework. I don't claim to know it all. Neither does Mark. Uh, but we hope that we can have civil discussions here. We hope that you guys watch us and you might learn. You may not learn anything directly from me in terms of what I say may not form your opinion. But all Mark and I want to do here really is have discussions, debate in a civil kind of way. And I don't know, I mean, YouTube is a big thing, but just maybe some politician or somebody with some kind of power will watch and see us and say, you know what? I like the way they do things. We need to try to be better. That's my hope, you know? So we hope to enlighten people a little bit about the. Listen, there aren't too many guys smarter than the other guy on the other part of this screen. I affectionately call him the professor because, well, to me, he looks professorial a lot of the time with the glasses and the beard, but he's a very knowledgeable guy about a lot of things. That's how I feel anyway. And I've joked about him having more answers than the Shell Answer Man. And while that might be just a little bit off base, and for you Gen X guys and gals, just look it up. I'm not going to go into an explanation here because we got to get off of here. But with that said, we will do this again next week. Now, we are recording this. It will stream on Thursdays. Uh, and so check check YouTube, check Facebook, uh, and look for Matt Claire or Matt Sanchez Claire or Mark Wick. And there's a Matt Sanchez Claire page on Facebook. Uh, it doesn't have. You're looking for the one without the face. You're looking for the one with the silhouette. Okay, and that would be me. That's where you want to go. So you can direct all your hateful opinions to me. But that's it for today. We ran over, but I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. For Mark Wick, this is Matt Claire saying, be blessed. Please do something nice for somebody.